Alright, hello everyone. So here's the deal. I've played Minecraft for a long time now, several years, since like 2012. I spend most of my time tinkering around with redstone contraptions or command blocks. I don't currently have a survival world, but that's mainly because every time I start a survival world, I just get kind of bored of it. It just feels kind of lonely. Empty. Long time ago, I did have my own Minecraft server that I hosted for me and a few of my friends, but this was done on our family computer, and so I didn't want to have it running all the time because I didn't want it slowing down the computer whenever my family needed to do actual work on the computer. So I always wanted to find a way to host my own dedicated Minecraft server. Now there's lots of options online. People will say that you can just get an old computer and turn it into a Minecraft server for pretty cheap, or get a Raspberry Pi, and those work pretty well as well. But I wanted my server to be unique until one day I had the thought, this idea. Working with command blocks, what if the outer shell of the computer case that would run the Minecraft server on was a command block? And not just that, but all the lights on the side were buttons that I could press and have them run a block of code or like a command or do something on the server. Before I could get into it, I needed to figure out if it was even possible. The main issue in my mind would be making software that would somehow connect with whatever these buttons and lights are into the Minecraft server. I've coded Minecraft plugins before using Bucket and Spigot. Here's where I need your help. I have a few ideas already for what I want each button to do, but we have lots of buttons available to us. Now, we still run into an issue of flexibility, right? Commands, for example, in Minecraft, take in arguments, and the arguments change the behavior slightly of the command. For example, the summon command. If I do /summon, I can give it a location, and it will summon some entity or whatever, a monster, in whatever location I tell it to. With buttons on the side of a command block, it's just a button. So if we wanted to summon something, there's no real way for us to understand how to give a location. Unless we assume that if I'm gonna be hosting this server and this command block is gonna be sitting on my desk, like right next to my computer, chances are I will be on the server when I press one of the buttons or when I want to press one of the buttons. So we can play around with this a little bit. If I'm in game, in the server, and I'm looking at a location and I press a button, maybe I can have that button, if that button strikes lightning or something like that, I can have that button strike lightning wherever I'm looking. Or if I have a button that affects a player, like gives them invincibility, if I'm looking at a player and I click a button for the invincibility, then that player receives the invincibility effect. If I'm not looking at a player, then I would receive the invincibility effect, haha. But we have the whole Bucket code base at our fingertips. We don't have to just do a simple command with one button. We can do really crazy things. So don't forget to send me your ideas in the comments section down below because they may be featured in a future video. So the material for the side panels though, it would As for making the side panels, I think I will use wood. It would be nice if I could just 3D print the sides, so that way I don't have to like worry about cutting anything. I would just make the dimensions accurate digitally and then print it with the 3D printer. I don't really have access to a 3D printer right now, nor am I super confident with exactly where I'm going with this. Usually with 3D printing designs, you want to have everything designed in detail first. So we're just gonna make it up as we go along. Cut some wood here, cut some wood there. If we mess up, then we'll just get more wood. I don't know, like, I'll definitely need hardware, computer components, and then materials for the actual shell, and like sticker or vinyl plastic adhesive or something like that to make the outside look nice. This is really important to get the idea of the scale of the box. And the main thing that the scale was going to be constrained by was the dimensions of the keyboards that we buy for the side panels, how far apart each key is. So I did some research online and came across the world of modded computer keyboards. Keyboards that they solder their custom little key switches onto and then put on their keycaps, and then they can have their keyboard light and glow in any way that they want, and the clickety-click can make the right sounds, react the right way. But it looked like everyone used, for the most part, this software called QMK. So looking into the code base, it seems like a way that I could write my own code for A, making the lights blink and appear just like a command block, and B, wire those buttons to Minecraft server somehow. So doing a little more research online, I found this company called Keybo that sells these little keypads that have exactly what I need. They sell the boards, the keypad boards that come with all the LEDs on it, and we can program the board to do exactly what we want it to do using the QMK firmware. That's the idea. And then we could just solder on clear key switches so that we can have as much light pass through those switches as possible. As for the shell, I don't want to have any obvious like seams or cuts in the shell itself. But I do want it to be essentially collapsible. So in case if I wanted to change some things on the inside or like on the outside for some reason, I can easily do that. So essentially, all 6 sides are gonna be different pieces of the shell. And then they come together somehow. We'll figure that out later. But going back to the dimensions for everything, it looks like the standard for keyboard switches and the circuit boards for the keyboards as well have each key switch spaced out 3/8 of an inch from each other. Doing the math for all of this, it looks like the command block will come out to be 6 inches, which is a good size. That's large enough to fit all of the components that we need, but it also gives us some room to play around with in case if we ever wanted to swap out the Raspberry Pi for a different SBC, one that's more powerful but takes up a little more space. So with all that in mind, it was off to Blender to see if we can just quickly whip up a design. Okay, so we got to turn this cube into a command block design. I'm just going to start with one side, scale this down to like 3 of the 16 pixels in, like this, by like 1 of the 16 pixels. So we should be able to type 1, okay, good, 1.5. And then we should be able to just grab this face and move it out by 1 so that it is flush with the shell. Okay, so yeah, I'm liking what that looks like. I think that'll work. Okay, so I just finished up a little bit of a model here with some of the sides and what it will look like. I also have the bottom panel here as like a circle. The back panel is just a cutout. Don't have any buttons there. You might have just cords hanging out or whatnot. And then the bottom, again, not entirely sure how I'm gonna put that together, but it might be like a fan area or something. But the rest is pretty good. We got the holes in their place for the buttons. And then you can see that they're all lined up in the center. You can see the axis going directly through those holes, so everything is lined up. That is because the bevel area here is actually 1.5 pixels wide for out of the whole 16 pixels. So let's actually go into shaded view so you can see that. We have a bit of a texture here, and then the panels are just kind of like metallic-y silver. And then the walls here are where I put the dark texture. I think that that works really well. Just kind of gives a little hint of, just a hint of interest here on the walls. So if we hide the shell and the actual metallic panels,
We have also just some rectangles in place for the approximate size of the boards that I think we'll be using. So we'll be using something called the BDN9 for the keypads on all those 4 sides. So those fit in quite nicely. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to secure them right now, but those are roughly where they will be. And then the center board here is the dimensions for a Raspberry Pi if you wanted to use that. It could be off to the side. I'm not entirely sure where it's going to be right now, but this gives us an idea and lets us know that everything does fit.
So it's time to put my money where my mouth is and go shopping. Now I know we'll need 4 of these Kibio BDN9 keypad boards, and they're sold out. Okay, so let's go ahead and go online and get a Raspberry Pi. Looks like, what the heck is wrong with those eyes? Ah, yes, here. No, they're out of stock. Okay, let's just go back and go to a different link. Oh, they're sold out as well. Okay, maybe. Okay, so it looks like everywhere I look, Raspberry Pis are sold out. I was hoping to get one with enough RAM to run the server, so we're gonna have to look for some alternative options there. But I was able to go back to the Kibio website another day, and they did restock on their BDN9 keypads. Yeah. So I took their entire inventory. I also found these clear key switches from a website called Prevail Key. They were selling them in packs of 10, which was perfect because I needed 30. So I just bought 3 of those puppy dogs, and I got them at a discounted price. I got them for dirt cheap. Now, I don't know if this website even sells them anymore. I was looking around. I think AliExpress has the same thing, but you could get any clear key switches, really. I just got these because, again, they were on a discount. I didn't really care about how they sounded or felt because we weren't going to be using them as a keyboard anyway. So that's all the time I have for today. I hope to get the next video for this project out sometime next week, so be on the lookout for that. Until then, send me those ideas, and I'll see you guys later.